Let's go ahead and dive into Biscuit's training so we can stay nice and consistent when we get home. When we get home and we give Biscuit a command and he follows through and does this command, we're going to make sure we are either pet praising or rewarding him to let him know that he's doing a great job and doing exactly what it is we're wanting. This is going to help build a strong reward history. A reward history is a positive association with doing an action. The more positive Biscuit sees these actions as, the more he's going to just give us these good actions or these good behaviors. If by chance Biscuit decides to not follow through and not listen to the command, we are then going to follow through using our training equipment. Dogs learn in photos, so we have about 1.3 seconds to either pet, praise, or reward, or to use that training equipment. So, our first command is going to be heel. Heel means to walk politely next to us on the left-hand side with a nice, loose leash. Again, when he's doing this, we're going to tell him he's doing a great job, we're going to pet him, or we're going to reward him. If he decides to wander off or he gets a little excited, we are going to make sure we're following through using our training equipment. What's our training equipment? The first object in our training equipment is going to be the slip lead. So we are going to make sure that we are hooking the leash to this back ring, and then this part is going to go up over his head, and we are going to make sure that we are tightening this down. It's going to sit directly behind his jaw and up behind his ears. We do not need it to be extremely tight, but we do want it tight enough where it's not going to swing and just hang there. So, when heeling and Biscuit gets a little excited and pulls forward, we are going to mark that behavior with the verbal no, so that he starts to realize this is an unwanted behavior, and then we're going to add a leash pressure and release, and remind him again to heel. So he's heeling, gets distracted, pulls ahead, no, heel. The next item in our training equipment is going to be the remote collar. So both the remote and the collar have these little red circles. To turn the collar on, we're going to touch those circles together and a green light is going to turn on. That light is going to flash periodically to remind us that the collar is in fact on. To turn it off, we're going to do the same thing. Touch those circles together and a red light is going to flash on to indicate that the collar is now off. To turn the remote on, there's a large black button in the back. We are going to press and hold that until the screen turns on. When the screen is on, our remote is on. To turn it off, same thing, that big button in the back, we're going to press and hold it until the screen turns off. When the screen's off, we now know that our remote is off. So when using this to follow through with heel, we are again going to mark the unwanted behavior with a no, and then we're going to focus on this black S button. That is going to be our follow through button, okay? And then we are going to remind him again of what it is we're wanting him to do. So he's heeling, gets distracted, pulls ahead, no, button, heel. Our next command is going to be sit. Sit is a short-term duration stay. We demonstrated this with door manners. So we heel him up to the door, we tell him to sit. He sits, we're going to tell him, good Biscuit, give him a reward, go ahead and give him a verbal reminder of what it is he's supposed to be doing, open that door. If he stays in the sit, we can then reward him again. He is not to get out of that sit and go through the door until you either tell him free, which means that he has the freedom to sniff, explore, go potty, go through the door. He's no longer in a command. Or until we tell him heel, and then we can proceed through that door together. Sorry. Now, if by chance we go to open that door and Biscuit stands up, we are going to make sure we're following through with that training equipment. We're going to put him back into that sit, and we are going to close the door, and we are going to do the action again. Once he's able to continue to stay sitting, once that door is open, we are going to then reward him, praise him, or pet him, and then proceed through that door. Our next command is going to be down. Down is a long-term duration stay. This was demonstrated with down in the lobby. So, when we put Biscuit into a down, we're going to make sure that we are rewarding him by putting treats as close to the ground, if not on the ground, as possible, right in front of him. We are not wanting him to pop up because dogs follow their nose. So if we go to hand him the treat, he's going to lift that head, which could cause him to come up into a sit or possibly even stand up. And that's not what we're wanting. We're wanting him to stay in that down. So again, we're going to either drop the treat directly in front of him, or we can leave it in our hand and put our hand as close to that ground as possible and have him take the treat from us then. If he doesn't want the treat, again, we can either praise or pet him also. Our next command is going to be place. Place is a barrier stay. We use an elevated bed for this. It just makes it a little bit easier for Biscuit to realize when his feet are on that ground. So when you're doing place, there are a few rules because this is a calm behavior, so we need him to stay calm. So when he's on place, there's no barking or no whining. There's no chewing on the bed and there's no chewing on the leash if he's wearing one. He can have treats and he can have toys, but he is not to chew on the bed or on the leash, and he needs to be quiet. When we go to reward him for this, we're going to make sure that we are dropping the treat onto the place bed because we want him to have a positive association with the bed. So by dropping the treat on the bed, he is thinking that the bed is what is giving him the treats. The bed is what is rewarding him. Now, when we are done with having him on place, we're going to walk up to him and free him from the same spot in which we are putting him up there. Kind of think of him as a mime, and he's in a little box, and only you can create the door for him to get on and off of it. I do recommend using place when people are coming over and you need him to be calm, or when you're cooking, eating, or cleaning, because again, this is a calm behavior, long-term duration stay. Our next command is going to be come when called. So when working on come when called, I do recommend having him on a 30 to a 50-foot long lead, especially if you are in an open, unenclosed area. This is for safety. So when we go ahead and we call him and we say, come, we're going to make sure that we are saying that command in a loud, firm tone. As soon as he turns to look at us, we are instantly going to back up a few steps to invite him into our space, and we are going to start praising him. Good boy, Biscuit. Yes, Biscuit. Get super exciting, so he really wants to come to us. When he gets to us, we're going to put him in a sit, and then we are going to reward him and tell him free so he no longer needs to stay in that sit. If by chance he is too distracted by whatever it is he's sniffing or looking at, we are going to make sure that we are reeling him in using that long lead. So we tell him come in a loud, firm tone. He's too busy sniffing a flower. We're going to say no. We're going to start reeling him in with that lead. And then as soon as he turns to us and looks at us and starts heading our way, we are still going to get exciting and we are still going to back up a few steps. When he gets to us, we put him in that sit still and we still give him a reward. The reason for still rewarding him is because we want to be the best, most positive thing that is outside for him. We want the very strongest positive reward history when it comes to come when called. Our next command is going to be leave it. So I recommend using pet-safe foods when doing this. We use hot dogs. So what you're going to do is you're going to drop that piece of food on the floor. You're going to tell him to leave it. When he leaves it, you are going to reward him, and then you can walk up to the item, point to it, and tell him okay, so then he can retrieve that off the ground. Or if you do not want him to retrieve it off the ground, you do not need to tell him okay. So now we are going to go over Biscuit's grooming. When grooming, I do recommend using the Baskerville Basket muzzle. He is currently a size 1. This is just going to keep it so that he's not nipping at us when we are trying to brush him, bathe him, or cut his hair. To use this, we are going to make sure that we flip this top part over so that he has access to put his face in there. When we are first teaching him that it is okay to put his face in here, that he wants, and making it so that he has a positive association with this and wants to put his head in there, we're going to just set a treat right here. Have him continuously pick up a treat from there. Once he's good with that, we can add a treat a bit farther in so that he's putting his nose or his muzzle in there a bit more. Once he's comfortable with that, we can fill our hand with treats, put the basket in our hand right above those treats, and cup that and make it so that he's wanting to put his face fully in there to get those treats. Eventually, you should be able to have treats in your hand and the basket and be walking backwards with him shoving his face in there to get those treats. Once you are at this point, we are going to be able to attach this so that it stays on his head. So when Biscuit is wearing this, this is going to sit nice and taut in between his eyes. That is going to make it so that he can't pull the muzzle down off of his face. His ear is going to come through one side so that this sits again up behind the jaw and behind the ear. The other side is going to attach again behind the jaw and behind the ear. That way it is held onto his head. We do want to make sure that we tighten this down enough so that he can't rip it off from the side or pull it down or end up pushing it up. I do also recommend using a long toothed comb. This way we are able to get all the way down to Biscuit's skin. That way we are getting all of the knots and all of the mats out. That way he doesn't have any skin sensitivity or pain. So that is all of Biscuit's commands. Let's go ahead and see them in action.
Good job, buddy. Yay! Good job, Heel. Good job. So smart. Heel. Heel. Good boy. Yay, Biscuit! Heel. Good job. Sit. Good sit. 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 Down. Heel. Good job. Sit. Good job, Biscuit. Oh, so smart. Wait. Come. Good boy. Sit. Yes. Awesome job. Free. Come. Good boy. Sit. Yes. Free. Hi. I missed that one, huh? Oh, bud. Free. Come. Good sit. Free. Do one more. Come. Good boy, Biscuit. Oh, sit. You almost fell. Good job, buddy. Good boy. Oh, what's that? Good job. Yep. Good boy. No. Sit. Sit. Sit.
Sit. Heel. Good job. Heel. 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 Good boy. Heel. Heel. Good job, baby. Sit. Nice. Good boy. Good job. Good boy. Good boy. Down. Good job. Down. Down. Good job. Good down. Good boy. Good down. You're okay. Good boy. Down. Good job. Down. Good boy, Biscuit. Good down. Down. Free. Heel. Nice job, buddy. Good boy. Good job. Heel. Good job, bud. Good job. Heel. Leave it. Good boy. Oh, we dropped it. Here we go. Right in here. Okay. Goofball, one more time. One more time, Biscuit. Leave it. Good boy.
Okay. Yay, Mr. Biscuit! You're so smart.
Good boy. Okay, so we're gonna go over muzzle conditioning Mr. Biscuit. So I do recommend getting a Baskerville basket muzzle. He is a, what size? He is a size 1. I prefer these due to the fact that it makes it so that he's able to open his mouth to pant, and he can also still receive and eat treats with this. When going to muzzle condition, we are going to flip this top part over, and we are going to first start out with placing a treat here and slowly move our way to placing treats farther and farther into the basket, so he's wanting to put his head in there. Eventually we can put treats in our hand, place the basket up against it, and let him try to get the treats out of our hand. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that for you. Come on, Biscuit, are you ready? Back up a little bit. So we're going to put the treat on here. He's going to go ahead and grab it. Oh, good boy. And then we're going to, oh, you already know, huh? Then we're going to place one in farther. Oh, good boy. Oh, did you get it? Yeah. Almost. Good job, bud. And then, he already knows. Good boy. And then we're going to place a good amount of treats into the palm of our hand, still having this part flipped over. We're going to place the basket against the treats and let him push his face in to grab those treats. While doing so, we're going to put his ear in, flip this back over his head. Oh, there you go. And while he's eating those treats, we're going to then move his ear out of the way and take the clasp and clasp it behind, oh goodness, behind his other ear. So both ears are going to be through the strap, and this is going to fit nice and firmly against his forehead, so he's not able to pull it down, and nice and firmly against his jaw, so that he's not able to wiggle it off. What a good boy. Once he has it on, we're going to let him just enjoy some treats so that he gets a nice positive association. You have one stuck, buddy, I'm sorry. Positive association with the muzzle. Oh, good boy. You get him? Good job. Good boy. Good boy, Biscuit. Such a good job. Yeah. When Biscuit is muzzled, we are going to make sure that we are feeding the treats through the muzzle. That way he's able to get them. Good boy. Or hold them directly up against that larger spot so he's able to grab the treats. Good boy. The muzzle does need to be taut in between his eyes and on the side of his face. That way he's not able to get it off. Good boy. Good job. Now, I do recommend getting a comb for him. That way we're able to reach all the way down to the skin to help with mats. Good boy. Good boy. So again, we're going to go all the way down to that skin. Now, he does have a knot right here. So if he's got a knot, kind of like us, we're going to just brace the skin so we're not tugging. And we're going to start at the end and work our way down that hair. Good boy. Do that for a moment or two while giving him some verbal praise and some pets. And then we're going to reward him for doing such a good job and letting us brush him. Good boy. Oh, that's so good. Good boy, Biscuit. And then we just continue on our way, making sure that we are, again, getting all the way down to that skin. We're going to do small little strokes, and if we hit a knot, again, we're going to brace the hair at the skin, and we're going to go from end to root. That way we are not hurting him. We're not putting too much pressure on that hair. Oh, what a good boy. Yeah. Good job. Good boy, Biscuit. Yes, good boy. Yes. Good. Oh, there's a knot right there. So let's go ahead and brace. Get that knot down at the tips out. And then work our way. Now, if you see him getting restless while you are working on a knot, go ahead and pause. Remember right where it's at. Pause and reward him because he is doing a good job and this is uncomfortable for him. Kind of as if we had a large knot in our hair and we just try to rip right through it. Tends to get a little sensitive. Oh, that's a good job. I'm going to spin you a little bit. It does tend to get a little sensitive. We want this to be as happy and positive as possible so that he continues to be a good boy, a good boy for his brush out, for his groom. Good job. Good boy. You got a knot right there, huh, bud? What do you smell? What a good boy. And then once all the knots are out, then we can go ahead and brush all the way through from head to butt. Good boy. Oh, there's another one. Good job. Oh, such a sweet boy. I dropped a hot dog. I dropped one. Oh, yes, good boy. Good job. Can you let me get the chest? Good boy. Oh, you're so sweet. You're such a good boy. Oh, yeah. It is very common to get mats or get larger knots up behind the ears and on the sides of the face. Good boy. So we want to make extra or take extra care and make sure that we are really getting those. Good boy. So again, when it comes to the ear, we're going to start at the end and work our way up as to not inflame the skin. Good boy. Or to hurt him. Good boy. Oh, yeah. It's not so bad, is it? It's not so bad, is it? Yeah, you're doing so good. You're doing so good. What a good Mr. Biscuit. Oh, boy. Yeah, look at that ear. You got a little bit of hair out, huh? Yeah, you want some treats? You want some treats for being so good? Yes. Good boy. Good job. Good boy. And that's going to be how we brush Mr. Biscuit. Let's go ahead and go over the remote collar. So both the remote and the collar have these red little circles. That's going to be the magnetic key to turn on and off the collar. So to do that, we're going to touch the circles together until a green light flashes. That green light is going to flash periodically to remind you that the collar is in fact on. If the color changes to orange or red, that means we are needing to charge our collar. To turn it off, same thing, red circle to red circle, touch them together, a red light's going to flash to indicate that the collar is off. I don't know why that was so difficult, sorry. So to turn your remote on, there's this big black button in the back. We're going to push and hold that until the screen turns on. Once the screen's on, our remote's on. To turn it off, same thing, big button in the back. We're going to push and hold that until the screen turns off, indicating that our remote is now off. When using the remote collar to follow through with Biscuit, we are going to focus on this black S button. This black S button is our follow through button. Biscuit is currently at a level 20. That is the level that is necessary for his excitement here at the facility, okay? So it could be too high or it could be too low for when you go home or when you take him out in public. How are you going to know if it's too high or too low? So if you're having to use that button all of the time, that means that the level is in fact too low. And we are going to make sure that we are increasing by increments of 5. So if it's too low, you're going to jump up to level 25. Now, if you are barely having to use that black S button and he is flinching very dramatically when you are using it, that means your level is too high. And we are then going to decrease his level by 5. How are we going to do that? Well, there's this nifty, oh my goodness, there's this nifty little knob here at the top, and that's going to be how we increase and decrease his level. You can see now that I'm spinning it around and nothing is changing. That is because his level is currently locked in. That way we aren't accidentally highering or lowering his level. To unlock the level, we are going to press and hold until that 1D is flashing. As I said, this knob is very sensitive, which is why his level dropped down when I unlocked it. So we're going to make sure that we get back to the level he needs, and then we are going to again push and hold until the 1D is solid and stops flashing. That way his level is locked in, and again, we don't accidentally higher or lower that level. So there's also this red S button. That red S button is an emergency only button. What it does is it's going to boost his level. It's going to double his level. So if by chance you have him off leash or you're playing with him and he goes to chase a squirrel across the street, that's when you're going to use that button. Otherwise, we're focusing on that black S button. Level 20 hits for his excitement here. Him chasing a squirrel across the street, his excitement level is all the way up here. So we are going to hit that red button because it's going to boost all the way up and make sure that it catches his attention and breaks his concentration on what it is that he is so excited about. That way we can keep him nice and safe. This has never had to be used while he was here at the facility. It is just really nice to have that peace of mind to know that if something was to happen and you can't get his attention, you have a way to do that. So there's also this black T button. This black T button is a vibrate button. I do not recommend using that within the near future. Down the line, you could use that as a warning, but right now it is very, very important that we stay consistent and use that black S button. So there's also this small MC button. This was used at the very beginning of his training at a very, very low level. What this does is it changes the buttons from momentary to continuous. So right now he's on momentary, before it was continuous. Again, this was at an extremely low level. What we did was we would hit that button and he would feel just a super tiny little feeling, kind of like a bug's crawling on him. And when he felt that, we were giving a lot of treats. So there was a positive association with the collar and not fear. Again, it is no longer necessary in his training at this point. So that on-off button, that big black button, this also doubles as a light button. So, as we know, you press and hold to turn on and off the remote. But if you just tap it, once is going to turn on a strobe light, 2 times is going to turn on a continuous light, and 3 times is going to turn the light off completely. Super cool thing about this remote collar is that they are waterproof. Both the remote and the collar are waterproof. So when we charge, because these are our little charging ports, oh goodness, we do want to make sure that we are fully pushing those back down when we're no longer charging. That way it helps keep all of the dirt, debris, and moisture out of in there so that there's no problems when we go to charge it. This remote and the collar are also have a range of ½ mile. So eventually when he's able to be completely off leash, you'll still be able to get his response with the remote collar for up to ½ mile. There's a 2-year warranty on this product also. So if by chance you're having issues with the remote turning on or the collar turning on or them charging, you can get a hold of the company. You can get a hold of the company and they will go ahead and help you in getting this replaced. So inside, your remote collar comes with these smaller little prongs and this nifty little tool. This is going to be necessary to use when Biscuit gets a haircut, when his hair is nice and short. We did switch out for the longer prongs because he does have such long hair. We wanted to make sure that the prongs were still making a connection with him so he could feel the collar. So again, he has the longer ones on right now, that way it gets all the way through his hair. It also comes with a cool little tube charger so that you can charge both the remote and the collar at the same time. When charging these, I do not recommend leaving them on the charger overnight. This can then overcharge them and possibly ruin the battery, kind of like our phones. So if you do that too often, it's going to make it so that the battery doesn't hold its charge as well. Underneath is going to be your instruction manual. So if by chance you can't remember how to raise or lower that level, you can in fact look at the manual and it will go over it completely with you. It did also come with this lanyard, which I did already put onto the remote, as you can see. I like to use the lanyard because it is not a good idea to put the remote in your pocket, like in your pants pocket, because you could bend down, accidentally unlock the level and adjust it, or you can accidentally hit one of these buttons and follow through or boost Biscuit when it is not necessary, and we really don't want to do that. We did leave him on the regular collar just because he does have such a small neck. We did not have a different collar to attach. They do make collars with quicker releases. You would need to go ahead and order one off of line because again, we do not carry one that is small enough for the size of Biscuit's neck. And that's going to be everything. That's everything that has to do with the remote collar. Don't forget to stay consistent and have fun. If you have any questions, go ahead and send us a text.